Background for the treaties. From time immemorial. From time immemorial, the Anishinaabe have lived on Turtle Island, North America. They had their own language, protocols, laws, and governance system. Their settlement and movement were largely defined by the resources provided by the Creator and by the seasons. They moved throughout their territory to seasonal camps to harvest wild game, fish, berries, wild rice, and other plants for food and medicines. This seasonal travel brought the Anishinaabe into contact with other First Nations and necessitated alliances for peace and friendship, as well as bartering and trade. Anishinaabe people had a rich oral history shared within families and communities. Ceremonies, songs, and dances were taught, and that knowledge was shared. The stories were about how things were done, why things happened, and taught valuable lessons and skills. There are also other ways that Anishinaabe people recorded events, such as the rock paintings that can be found throughout different locations in the territory. While archaeological evidence indicates that the first Europeans to settle in what is now Canada arrived around AD 1000, it wasn't until 600 years later that the beginnings of a substantial European presence were established. Their expansion across the land, motivated by exploration and trade, brought them into contact with the Anishinaabe. The relationship between the Anishinaabe and European settlers was complex. Interactions were both negative and positive. Some of each group saw the potential for economic, political, or military partnerships. Others were intent on spiritual conversion, while still others did not want to interact at all. As more and more people arrived in North America, it became clear that some settlers had no interest in sharing the land and viewed the Anishinaabe as obstacles in their plans. The Royal Proclamation of 1763. After the 7 Years' War in North America, the King of England, George III, issued the Royal Proclamation of 1763. That document defined the boundaries of North America and outlined how land would be settled by Europeans. The proclamation stated that Indigenous title to the land existed, and there had been great frauds and abuses committed by settlers and illegal surveys. To prevent fraud and keep order, the proclamation stated that from then on, only the Crown could purchase land or negotiate treaties with Indigenous peoples. The Numbered Treaties. After Confederation in 1867, the Canadian government was eager to push across North America. There was concern that the Americans would lay claim to the West before the Canadians did, and so securing British Columbia was key. When the province entered Confederation in 1871, it was under the condition that the Government of Canada connect it to the east via railway. In order to do this, the Canadian government had to negotiate treaties with Indigenous peoples to allow for the construction of the railway and steamboat traffic. These negotiations began in 1871 and resulted in what became known as the Numbered Treaties. There are 11 numbered treaties. The first, number 1 and number 2, were both signed in August 1871. The last, number 11, was signed in 1921.